Hi, I'm Ambry and this is Ambry's Corner and welcome back to my channel. Hi, welcome back. If you're a new watcher, viewer, subscriber, welcome. If you're a returning watcher, viewer, subscriber, welcome back. Welcome to Ambry's Corner. So I do have a story time for you guys today, and today story time is more of a serious topic, and it goes into a little bit of some of the things that happened to me while I was in middle school. And I feel like most of my adolescent years were the years that I had to endure the torture that is bullying. And I can laugh about some of these things now. Some of these things I still can't. Like I told y'all once before, there was a story I attempted to tell on here, and before I could even get into it for real, I went into tears, so I didn't even get a chance to tell it. I just paused it and told something else that was more uplifting. Cause I guess I wasn't as healed from that situation as I thought I was, cause it was so long ago. But you know, only time will tell. Maybe one day I'll be able to tell it for you without busting in tears after I tell it. But today's story time, I just want to shed light on some things that kind of get swept under the rug, you know, in the school systems. And I don't think they do it on purpose. I just think that there's so many different things going on in the schools, outside the schools, that it's kind of hard to, you know, make one thing a focus or make something of importance more important. But I think it needs schools now that you need to be more proactive with things such as bullying, just because out of everything that goes on, how many times do we have to keep learning the same lesson over and over again? When people go into schools and shoot up schools, and you know, I feel like, and when kids start committing suicide because some kids, a group of kids was making fun of them, or an entire group or entire class of kids was making fun of them, nobody cared to do anything about it, you know. Luckily, I wasn't that type of person. Luckily, I wasn't the type of person to commit suicide or anything like that when I was in school and stuff like that, because I had strong family members behind me praying for my mama in the school when she needed to be in the schools, making sure that they did something or they was proactive. And sometimes it worked, and then sometimes, you know, it didn't work, and it was a struggle just because, you know, the schools, it was almost like the school was saying, well, everybody goes through it, it happens to everybody, and I'm sure it does, but a particular student is telling you that it's worse. I'm never gonna downplay, you know, what other people go through, because I know that that's just a rite of passage to go through it. But I feel like sometimes it's worse for others. You know, maybe like a few things. Maybe like somebody get a bully here and here, you know, here and there, and they easy to deal with or whatever, because it's not as frequent. And mine wasn't that frequent either. But you know, sometimes when on the weak side, when they was really in, they was in, and it was hard sometimes. And some of it I can laugh about now, and some of it, there's some things I just get mad about. And this particular incident I get mad about, because it's just another example of how the school systems didn't care, and they made me feel like I was the problem anytime I came to office to let them know what was going on, or to prevent anything worse from happening, like a fight, which they didn't want. But they also wasn't trying to do anything to prevent a fight either, because they tell you try and prevent it from happening earlier so it doesn't happen. But when you do, they act like they're too busy, or they ain't got the time to deal with it because they don't want to. And part of me believes like maybe it was because they were scared of the students, or maybe it's because they really just didn't want to deal with it or tolerate it. They didn't want to believe that things like this were going on in their school. I don't know what it was, but I do know that it wasn't solved, and afterwards it was worse sometimes. So let's just get into the story time and I'll tell you what happened. So when this takes place when I was in middle school, and I was probably like the 6th or 7th grade. I really can't remember. I'm leaning more towards the 7th grade though. And you know, I mean, I got picked on a lot in middle school, so I really don't think there was like a really big difference. I mean, from middle school to high school, there wasn't really big of a difference. I think it lessened more in high school just because most of the people that were my bullies in middle school, I wasn't with them anymore. They had moved on to different schools or whatever the case may be. Just certain things, so I didn't see them as much. But with that came a whole new group of them. So I had to tolerate. Not only did I have to get used to new ones, but I had some of the old ones mixed in with some of the new ones. So it just made it. I mean, it wasn't worse, but it wasn't good either. Some of them were relentless, and some of them just they did it when they felt like it, or to make their day go by faster. I guess it just depends on what victim I was of that day. But anyway, so this particular incident happened when I was in 7th grade. I think I was in my math class, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. I'm not sure, cause I think I'm getting like my wires crossed with two different people. So I'm not sure which one I'm thinking about. Oh, I was in, so we're just gonna stick to the math class though. But there was this guy, and I had different you know, people messing with me, so it wasn't always the same person. It was different people. But this one guy, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the guy I'm talking about. Okay, so this one guy, his attitude towards me was bipolar, because sometimes he could be my friend, then other times he was like just an asshole, like a real asshole. But this day in particular, he was on his asshole. He had on his asshole hat. He wasn't the nice guy he usually is. He was an asshole this day. It was no different. So we was in math class, and I don't know what happened, but I guess like they just have to be in the mindset for these on these days. So you know. And the things, and let me just say, the things that people picked on me about when I was in school are things like I'm a big girl, I'm black. You know, those were things they came at me for, or the fact that I was older, you know, most of my classmates. And I was, and it's no lie, I was older than most of my classmates. And I told you, because I got killed back a couple times, and I'm not ashamed of it because I'm done with school now, so it doesn't really matter. But you know, that's a lot of the reason why they picked them on me. But here's what you need to know: these guys also got picked on. So I was just like somebody they could target easily, because I think other people wasn't dealing with it. I could target easily. They would target me. So these guys got picked on. And I felt it was levels to it. Like, you know, like it was the guys that picked on the smaller guys, and then the smaller guys picked on me. But it wasn't just the smaller guys, it was like the guys picking on me too. So it's kind of like levels to it. I can't explain it, but it was kind of like a ripple effect. Like, this guy had to deal with this guy this day, so I'm going to have to deal with him this day. I feel like I want to say that's how it was, but I'm not sure. But I know I remember in one class, they went in on this dude. I mean, they was giving him the business about everything, and I don't remember laughing at anything, but I just remember they was going in on him. I think and I think our incident happened like a couple days after this. And so I was in class, and as usual, I'm minding my business like always. And I don't know, most times when it starts, I'm kind of oblivious to it. You know, I hear them laughing and cracking up about certain things, but I don't really pay attention at first. And then, like, I'm like, something in me just like feels, okay, it's starting. Like, I know they must be talking about me. So then after a while, I start tuning in on it. Like, I start actually listening to it. That's how I don't care how where I'm at, it always starts. I can feel it when it's happening. But for some reason, I'm oblivious to it while it's happening for a minute, and then I can hear it, and it gets louder and louder and louder in my ear. So he was going in on me, about the regular things. I'm big, I'm black, um, I'm old, I'm older than everybody in my class, I'm ugly, just all, I'm bald head, just all the things that were obvious, except for the I'm ugly part. Cause let's be honest, I'm not ugly. Okay, thank you. But he was just going in. He was just going in on about all the things that was wrong with me. He was just pointing out all my flaws. So he said something along the lines. I'm not gonna repeat what he said because I don't want to give it that much attention, or him for that matter. But he, and so that was kind of like the breaking point for me. So I think I don't know if I said something, but I think I did say something. I said, leave me alone, or I'm gonna go tell on you, like that. So I really don't think he leaves me alone after that, because I ended up going to tell. So I asked teacher, could I go to the principal's office, and I go to the principal's office, and I basically said, then I tell them what's going on. I usually, like, when things like this happen, this is what would happen. I would go tell the principal, and what the principal would do is he think that it would be better to just move me, as if I was the problem, as if I was the reason that things like this was happening to me. And it wasn't just this principal, it was principals in the past. Like, it was like all the time I was at this school, I would be the one that would have to move classes. It was never the person that was taunting me that had to move. They would move me as if I was the problem. Even though I had never been rolled up, I had never been in trouble. The only thing I really had been guilty of the entire time I was there is that I came to school late. And I came to school late because I didn't want to come to school, because I knew what I was going to have to deal with once I got there. That's why I came to school late. So it never failed. But this particular time, he didn't move me. He didn't do anything. This particular time, so I went to the principal. I told the principal office, and I said the guy's name. And he brought him into the office, and we talked. And basically, he told me to make a list of everything that the guy had said. And so when he brought the dude in, he read the list off. He said, so, you know, Miss Embry here has been having some issues with you in class, and it goes as far as, like, you calling her names and out her name, stuff like that. And I just want to get your side before I make any decisions. And the guy was really nonchalant, like, he really didn't care. Like, you gonna believe what you want to believe, as if I was doing something to egg it on. I mean, as if I was causing the problem. That's how he made it sound, like the guy did. He made it sound like he didn't care, and, you know, it's with us. And so I had really got irritated, because I just felt like it was a never-ending cycle. Like, it was never going to end. No matter what I did, it was always going to somehow be my fault that I was a victim. I was, like, basically these people's punching bag whenever they felt like they needed to get something off their chest, so they was going through something. I was the target for that day, and it was obvious that I was the target. And so he was like, and I was just like, he was like, I said, he was telling them he didn't care, and he was just acting real nonchalant about it, even though everything I said was true. It was very true. So finally, I was just getting irritated. So I said, can I go, please? Can I just go back to class, please? He said, yes. Cause I just, the vibe that was coming off of the principal was like, this is normal. Like, get over it. You know, deal with it. You're in here every week complaining on somebody because it's happening, because you're not doing anything, because you're not taking action, because you're not making it a big deal, and it is a big deal. In most states, this is a very serious thing. In most states, you don't get away with stuff like this. If I go and tell on the student for messing with me, and I'm not doing anything at all, I could see somehow I was egging this person on, or I was doing something to begin with to make this person mad. But I hadn't done that. I hadn't said this, and I hadn't even looked this person's way the entire day. So for him to come at me like he was coming at me was wrong. But this principal just made light of it, I feel like. So I don't know what the conversation was when I left that office that day, but all I know is that I seen him in the next period as if nothing happened, and he was right back to his old ways, You know, he wasn't messing with me, but he was just right back to it like nothing had happened. And I just remember getting really, really irritated and agitated because I just know what the conversation was. I know that he said, well, just leave her alone for the rest of the day. She'll be all right. And I want her to come back up here no more and tell me that you're messing with her, you know. And, you know, you good. Go back to class. Like that. That's what I feel like happened in the office. I know that's what happened. He made light of this situation. He didn't think nothing of. All I can think about is if I had been. I'm just saying, if I had been the type of person that people read about, the type of kids that commit suicide because of things like this would have been a different story. Like, this would have been a different story. And these people would have been singing a different tune, but they wasn't. And I hate to think that maybe it was because the school system was scared of, you know, their students. But I don't believe that was the case. I really don't. I just believe that they really just didn't care enough to deal with the issues. You know what I mean? And it irritates me to my bone because I'm going to want to eventually have kids, and I would hate to have to go down to the school for this reason. My mama stayed in the schools when I was in school. She lived in the school. She always had to come up there and talk to somebody and say something to somebody. And the tune would always be like, oh, why she didn't tell us ahead of time? She never told us. We didn't know. Yes, I did tell you. I always told you, and you did nothing to help, nothing to solve the problem, nothing to fix the problem. You didn't do nothing. And as bad as I want to say the name of the school I'm referring to, I'm not going to do that because that doesn't bring me any justice. And I know that this principal is probably no longer a principal at this school, so I don't insist on me even saying his name. But he didn't help the situation. He didn't try to solve. And teachers would say, you know, let us know. I'm not telling you nothing. I'm not going to say nothing because I already know how this is going to go. You're going to do exactly what I did. That's what you're going to do. And it's going to be the same thing. And if it does, if you actually do up there and talk to him, and he does decide to do something, it's not going to involve this person. It's going to involve me. It's going to involve let's just move her to a different class. Maybe that'll solve the problem. It doesn't solve the problem because I'm just going to end up in the class with somebody worse than him in the next class. It's not going to be any better than you think it's going to be. It's not going to be any better. And so I was sitting there not thinking about how they used to do me when I was in school. And I don't know, maybe it's because my grades was not good at this point. My grades was far from good. Maybe that's why they thought that it wasn't important enough. Like, well, she paid more attention to these grades instead of people. I feel like if she paid more attention to these grades than what people were saying about her, then this wouldn't be an issue. This wouldn't be a problem. Because my grades, I ain't gonna lie, my grades wasn't the best, and it was because of what was going on around me. It was because of my focus wasn't on my schoolwork. It was on, okay, I gotta get to my next class. I gotta deal with whatever bullcrap I'm about to deal with in that class before I can focus on anything. You know, I'm working. I can't even focus on anything I'm working on because I'm so worried about what's going to happen in the next class, or what's going to happen in the next class, or who's in my next class, or if this person, who am I going to have to avoid today? Like, it was always the same thing. I'm not mad about this anymore. I don't care. I'm not in school no more. But I really feel for my kids and my children's children and the kids that are already in school dealing with stuff like this. I'll give it to them. A lot of the kids of today are a lot tougher than I am. I work with some high school students and they're so tough, and I admire them for their strength, because it's strength I wish I would have had when I was in school, and the strength that I have now, I wish I would have had. But I can deal with it now. I feel like this is kind of like my pulpit because of everything that's going on, everything that went on, everything that was said, you know, all of it. I just feel like it's my pulpit, and this is how I'm releasing that anger and all that hurt that I felt back then, because it was really happening. But I really feel bad for the next generation, because I just pray when everything with COVID comes down, everything that happened calm down a little bit. Maybe the school systems will start taking this stuff a little bit more serious. I don't know what it's been like in recent years, because like I said, nobody in my family but one person is still in high school, and he's not really even attending high school. He's online right now, and I feel like by the time he can't actually attend high school again, he'll be getting ready to graduate, so it'll be pointless for him to go back. And he's already ahead for the year anyway. Like, he's already completed one whole class for the entire year. So that won't even be a problem for him when he goes back. When school actually does start back up and you actually have to attend school again. But I just remember this, not how upset I was when I saw him in the next class, because I just knew that the principal did not do nothing. My efforts had failed once again, and that's why I'm not scared no more to tell my story. This is exactly why I'm driven to tell everything that happened to me in school in 2021. And I told y'all that my videos for 2021 was going to be a roller coaster. I'm telling everything. I'm through holding back. I'm through, trying to keep the peace. I'm done with it, because this is what people are going to understand about me. I am not the same person I was when I was in high school. You come for me now, I'm coming for you. Now, do not fuck with me, okay? I'm not playing with you. If you see me, don't speak to me, don't say shit to me. Just know that this is what it is. If you see this, if you don't see it, I don't care. That's why I made it public on Facebook, on my Instagram, on my Twitter. I'm not playing anymore. I'm serious. How you hurt people, it affects them. And whether you know or not, it leaves a scar there, a hardened scar, and it messes up people sometimes. Just with life, people are scared to live the life because they're always scared that people are going to treat them like people did in school. Let me calm down, because I'm getting heated about nothing. But I say this to say, what comes around goes around, and it comes back around tenfold. Karma is nothing to play with. I believe in karma. Like I said, this is just my way of venting and getting it off my chest. But if you happen to come across this video and you see this, I'm doing this, and you know who you is. I don't have to tell you who you is, because you know who you is. And the next one, you'll know who you is, because them stories will be specifically to you. I'm not saying that because I respect you enough to keep your privacy to you. That's saying the school system name and the principal name, because one, I don't remember his name, and two, because I still live in the county that I went to school in. I still live here, so I don't want to make it hard, for my school system to continue what it's doing. Because although we had some bad principals and some bad teachers and some not so good principals and some not so good teachers, I've had some really good principals and some really good teachers. I've had some fantastic teachers, and some of them may have been tough and just all out hell, but they were the most effective because they were like that. I tell you about one teacher, my language arts teacher, I think in the 6th or the 7th grade. And back then I thought she was just a little bit mean, but when I needed her to be my teacher, she was my teacher. When I really needed her to be my teacher, she was my teacher. And I will never forget that woman for that. I will never forget it. I don't care how mean she was to us as students. She was effective in her efforts. She was very effective in her efforts. So I'm going to tell that story about that teacher. And I'm not going to say her name either, because I know she got kids and stuff like that. I don't want to do that woman like that. But I love that teacher to this day. And I'm going to tell that story, because I understand now why she was like she was. Because she knew them students would try to run over, and they did a lot of teachers like that in school. So I remember that. So, but that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment at the bottom. Leave a comment in the comments below. Let me know what you think, what you want to hear. And I will do my very, very best to make that happen. And I will see you next one. Bye!